Spider guard has always been one of the most prolific guards in gi jiu-jitsu, but its origin goes all the way back to Kosen Judo in the 1940s, but we're talking about a very rudimentary form here. In jiu-jitsu, it was developed in the late 1980s, early 1990s as an evolution on the basic open guard. Mauricio Tinguinha is well regarded as one of the developers of Spider Guard. He told BJJ Heroes that he doesn't know who was the first to do the transition from open guard to Spider Guard, but he thinks it was a natural evolution that happened in multiple gyms at the same time. Now, Gracie Mag has a report of Draculino saying he saw Renzo Gracie playing Spider Guard back in 1987, but based on Rickson's 400-0 record, we should probably take these stories with a grain of salt. The evolution of Spider Guard has branched off in many different ways. You could look at 10 different Spider Guard players and see 10 different concepts at work. What I want to go over today is a system from Spider Guard that I've yet to see taught online. Some of the sweeps and concepts will definitely be familiar, but based on how hard it was to find footage of this in competition, it should be new to a lot of you guys. The bread and butter of this system is from the feet, but we'll start on our knees and work our way up.
So whenever I'm setting up Spider Guard, I always try to protect my pant legs first, right? So I'm getting my grips first, taking away any of the slack, because I like to curl so that they can't like circle their hands around mine. I'm gonna scoop myself in and put both feet on the biceps here. So once I'm in this position, people always teach this angle drill where you go side to side like this. You don't really need to do this drill. It's more of a reactionary thing where if the person circles to one side, I straighten my leg and then circle my hips back. If you go to the left, I straighten my leg and circle to get my hips back.
Now, to be clear, when I say you don't need to use this drill, I just mean you don't need to be constantly scooting side to side while you're playing Spider Guard. When you are moving your hips, you should be moving your hips to set up leverage for a sweep or to deal with your opponent's side-to-side movement. The drill is really good for understanding which side you need to move your hips to and understanding which leg needs to be straight, but that movement doesn't need to be constant while you're playing the guard.
But you always want to make sure you're never scooting your hips and straightening that side because it's really easy for the person to pop this off and start to pass your guard. So anytime you're straightening your leg, your hip should be on the opposite side of that straight leg. So from here, we have the triangle option where I pull the arm in, shoot this up over the shoulder, lock my feet, and finish the triangle here.
If you can get the hips high enough, you don't need the foot on the hip. You can just shoot it like this, but it takes some practice to be able to get them high enough.
We have the arm bar option that I like to do, and this comes from the angle, usually when someone's grabbing onto my pants here. So they're grabbing, I'll angle, and I swing my leg really wide. So if they're holding, when I swing my leg, their arm gets extended. I can let go of my grip, go to the elbow, break, and then finish the armbar here.
Here you'll see Michael Lange using this armbar against the same opponent as match one. And what I love about this armbar is if the person on top realizes what's happening and they let go of the grip to retract their arm, it isolates one of their arms so you can always swing your hips back and go back to the triangle like we showed in move one.
For our sweep options, we have to get our angle to generate leverage for the sweep, but it's just two sweeps. I'm angling to do the sweep, right? We angle, I'm gonna open my leg, lift up, swing, chop into their leg, take them over, and then when I'm finishing these sweeps, I always maintain my grips and I climb up with my grips so that they don't push me back.
And here you can see Michael Lange again using the same sweep we just showed.
Whenever you're playing Spider Guard, if you end up losing one of your grips, there's a big window on this side of my guard. So if he has my pants on this side, he can throw my legs this way and start to pass my guard really easily if I'm missing the grip. So what I usually do to deal with that, if I end up like maybe he breaks my grip by circling or I lose it for whatever reason, I lasso on the opposite side. So now if he tries to throw my guard this way, my foot's kind of blocking that from happening. And you can also go over, you can do like a reverse lasso over the top if you can't get underneath, and it still does the same job of keeping your guard from getting thrown to the side here, right? So this could happen later in the move too. Maybe when I go for one of my sweeps, I take this off. It's the same concept. As soon as I'm taking this off to sweep, I'm missing this side of my guard, so now he can throw my legs this way a little easier, right? So for whatever reason, if you're going for one of these sweeps and you miss the move, now your next step could be to lasso to kind of recover and get back to your guard here. These are all attacks from when the person's on their knees, but when they stand up, they're gonna have some of the same attacks, but we'll also have some different ones. I still keep that same concept of curling my legs, kind of stepping on his biceps and making him carry my weight here. And same thing, I'm centered unless I need to angle to recover my hips, right? So when I do the sweep, you use that angle to generate leverage, but if I'm not attacking a sweep, I'm usually centered right here. So we angle to get the leverage. If he's holding my pants here, always expect to have to break with any of these moves. So kick, break, and that's when you want to go. So it's similar to the one on the knees. We're kicking our leg up, switching my hips, and I'm chopping into his leg. Now the main factor for this one is if he stays inside my legs. If he stays inside my legs, I take him over his shoulder. Same idea, come up to mount, finish from here.
Just keep in mind that the reason Lyra stays inside the legs here is to avoid that next sweep that I'm going to show.
But if he jumps over my legs when I do this move, the move's gonna change a lot. So starting from here, I get my angle. As I chop, now he circles and jumps over my leg. So now I can't really sweep him that way. So from here, I'm gonna scoop my hips in, almost like you're doing like a barrel roll towards his legs. My whole body's coming in, and I'm taking his head towards the mat here. A key detail with this though is keeping tension with your leg on this side. If when I scoot in, if I bend my knee and try to press him off, it's really hard to get that back. So from the moment where he steps out, I'm keeping tension with my leg. I'm moving myself in, moving myself in, moving myself in until I can take him over the top of me here and make him roll over his shoulder. Now, you might make a little bit of a scramble with this one, but just do the best you can of like getting up and getting to top tie control here. This becomes a back and forth where if they jump over your legs, you take them over the top, but if they realize what's happening and jump back into your guard, you recycle back to move one. When you're doing this one, a big mistake a lot of people make is the head position. So I try the first move, and you really have to sell this first move to get him to go over your legs, right? So when you're doing this part, if your head comes back this way while you're trying to scoot in, a lot of times they're just gonna jump right back inside the legs. Yep, and then you end up kind of starting over, which isn't the end of the world. But to prevent that, you keep your head in more and making sure your head's almost going like towards his legs, and then you're bringing him towards his head. I'm not trying to make him roll over his shoulder. I'm bringing him towards his head, and he's rolling over his shoulder from here. Grappling with Jiu-Jitsu isn't responsible for any $46 million lawsuits. As always, thank you for being here. I really appreciate the support. If you learned something from the video, consider giving it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, share the video if you can, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.